Despite the banner numbers in the past few months, UNLV researchers now say that tourists overall are spending less, and it is caused by inflation.
I'm still having a great time, but inflation definitely.
It's Vegas, baby, but on a budget.
We didn't go see any shows. It's probably pretty expensive.
Across America, everyone's trying to save a buck, even those on vacation.
Interest rates have gone up, and we know the prices have gone up as well.
Professor Stephen Miller of the UNLV Center for Business and Economic Research is one of the authors of this report, taking a hard look at inflation, interest rates, and Nevada's tourists. They call it the Tourism Index, a sum of visitor volume, hotel occupancy, and gaming gains. After a surge post-shutdowns, this summer you see a drop just as interest rates went up. And though airport visitor numbers look like Vegas had a banner fall, economists do take out holiday travel and adjust for seasons. Miller says there's been signs of a downward trend for months.
The Fed's policy switch is having an effect on us. Visitors who maybe are thinking about coming here maybe have changed their mind.
He says sales tax revenue in Nevada has started to soften. That means tourists and locals are starting to spend less. But what's bucking the downward trend is gaming, with $1 billion per month for 20 straight months.
Sports entertainment. It may be that all of the professional activity that we've been getting, the Golden Knights and the Raiders, that may be contributing to gaming revenue.
If there is an economic slowdown or recession in 2023, what will help Vegas, the report says, are fans flocking to sporting events such as Formula One and the Super Bowl. But there's cautious optimism. Yet another COVID surge or even a flu or RSV surge will keep thousands home instead of coming to Vegas.
It could come back and bite us again.
And there are hopes that the holidays and holiday spending may change that downward trend for Vegas tourism revenue.